Hey guys, Maddie here from DCLblogger.com. For those that know me, you know that I'm into Decentraland, but over the last 2 or 3 days, Gods Unchained has been getting all my attention, mainly because it has absolutely been smashing it on the volume chart. Like if you look at OpenSea, this is literally just 2 days worth of volume, and it's almost at 1,000 Ethereum, which kind of smashes everyone else who this is a good 7 days worth of trading, 7 days worth of trading, but this is only 2 days worth of trading. So once it actually gives us an overview of a whole 7 days worth of trading, this will probably be over a couple of thousand Ethereum. I expect that to slow down a little bit over the next week or two, just because of the nature of how marketplaces work with NFT projects. I've been part of many for a while now, and I've kind of noticed that as soon as it opens, everyone's really interested in selling. People are interested in buying and selling and all that. It gets a lot of volume activity, and it kind of slows down to find some kind of a balance until there's some hype or some news or some activity that pumps it up. But basically in this video, I wanted to go through some of the buys that I have done, and what my mentality is and logic is, and kind of share it with the Gods Unchained community to, if you want to trade to make money, we can learn from each other and see what other strategies are, because the NFT trading marketplace, the space as a whole, is slowly starting to develop, and it reminds me of the early crypto days where you see a bit of volume, a chart like this with like the top 10 coins getting a bit of volume, but now 10 years later, the crypto space is huge. It gets there's some billion-dollar companies out there, so this kind of looks like that in the early days. But in saying that, NFT trading is a real thing. I kind of do it full time. I've been doing it full time for the last 2 years with Decentraland, where you can buy pixels of land 16 by 16 meters all over this map. Those that are into Decentraland, like land has been selling like crazy over the last 2 years. It definitely has slowed down over the last few months, but we've had some $1 million weeks. It has been nuts there previously. But anyway, let's stick to Gods Unchained. What I've been focusing on is basically learning the valuations over the last 2 days and buying where it seems like a really good buy. And I've done some bulk deals, kind of OTC, at least negotiating a deal with people and conducting the deal on OpenSea as best as I can. Want to do it on platform. But I have been chasing diamonds. Okay, I've been chasing diamonds. Or anything of higher value. You can see I've got quite a lot of diamonds. In fact, I've got about maybe 16 rare diamonds and about 30 common diamonds, and I think I only had about 3 or 4 before I started this, before the marketplace opened. But that's where my attention has been, mainly because I'm used to Decentraland, where it's $500, $1,000, $10,000 transactions here and there. Some people have sold their lands for a lot of money. I'm not really interested in buying and selling and making a few dollars here and there with Gods Unchained cards. It's mostly trying to get a hold of bigger portfolios and buying them in bulk for less than what I can sell them individually over the short space of time. So I've been following a really good formula at the moment. This was shared on the Discord by someone, I think yesterday. I just can't find him again. I really want to credit him the screenshot, but basically I think this is based on data, so it shows you how much these type of cards have been selling for historically, right, over the last 2 days, what kind of prices you can expect for them. So gold legendary is 1 ETH, diamond legendary is 5 Ethereum. Obviously anything under that is really good. I think the cheapest legendary diamond right now is 5.5. In fact, the 7 Ethereum legendary diamond sold recently. So I think 5 is the sweet spot, 5 up or down, depending on what card it is. And obviously the others change based on that. So that's what I've been aiming for. A lot of the common diamonds I've picked up was 0.1 Ethereum, so it's well below this. A lot of the rare diamonds I've actually picked up for 0.25. I'm not sure how this is calculating 0.9. Pretty sure people aren't paying 0.9 for rare diamonds. Or maybe this was taken at a time when there wasn't that much data, but I've picked up quite a lot of rare diamonds for 0.25 Ethereum. So I've been trying to pick these up for much lower than what the data is showing based on sales, not based on listings, based on sales. Okay. And these were actually part of a bulk deal. I had a deal with someone where I got 120 of his top cards, and I think he had spent about 50 Ethereum. He was the demigod status. 150 Ethereum 50 Ethereum on his set, and I picked up his top 120 cards for 23 Ethereum. So that included this one, which I'm pretty happy with. This one, a lot of these rare diamonds, the epic, shadow legendaries, a lot of the common diamonds. I think there was about 20, 30 or something there. I think when I calculated on the safe side, it was about 30 Ethereum worth of cards, based on the market right now, or even 25 Ethereum. Even if I break even, I'm happy at the moment to hold it for a little bit. But that's that. And another kind of strategy I've been doing is, over the last 2 days, like I said, I've literally just been following sales history. Okay, so OpenSea shows real-time sales history, so I kind of stare at this for a little bit here and then. Every time there's an interesting sale being made, for like a legendary or something, I just make sure I'm aware of that. But there's also a few other cards that have my attention. So I'm chasing diamonds just because it's higher value transactions. If I can make, if I can sell a diamond, buy a diamond for 0.1 Ethereum and sell it for 0.2, that's 0.1, $16. It's much better than dealing with the lower little cards. Although I'm pretty sure they will have value over time. For example, I think it was, which one was it? I think it was skeleton. Oh, I forgot the name. There was a, oh wait, I think that's it. There was a common card that I had, that one, Bonded Warrior, right? So this has been picked up quite a lot, I think, because it is being used in the game more often. So this is a really good website shared by one of the users on Discord. Really cool. And I'm sure there's other things like this, but one thing I like about this website, it tells you the trend up or down. So obviously Genesis cards have just been released to trade, right? So a lot of people that got into Gods Unchained over the last 1 or 2 months and started playing the game, pretty sure they've been playing mostly with core cards. So now they can actually buy Genesis cards, and you're going to start to see more of these being incorporated in decks and strategies being figured out. So I did expect to see an uptrend in many of these cards, and I noticed there was an uptrend in the Gatekeeper recently. So I went ahead and went a bit crazy and bought all the Gatekeepers, all the cheapest Gatekeepers. I think there were 16 of them. Okay, so I just bought all of them, and I think they were about 0.07 Ethereum, and I also saw one sell for 0.09 Ethereum on OpenSea. So that was kind of the trigger, and I was like, wait a second, it's trending upwards. There's a lot at 0.07 Ethereum. Let me buy them. And also another really cool thing we're going to have is Token Trove. Is going to show us the price history over time. So it's going to be awesome once we are 1 month, 2 months, maybe hopefully even 6 months through trading, and we can kind of see the trend. And I feel like a lot of this will emulate probably not the crypto markets, but it will give us a lot of data. For example, once it starts to flatline or start to grow slowly, then it might be a signal to buy a crap ton of them because people are obviously buying them, right? But that is something we have to wait and see. A couple of others that I'm chasing are the promo cards. Where can I see them? Okay, so the promo cards, there's only 59 of Lights Bidding cards out there. There's about 619 of Blessed Chimera, and these are selling for about 1 Ethereum. That's 0.8 to 1 Ethereum. These have historically sold for about 10 to 12 Ethereum, which is quite a lot, especially considering no one's really even using Lights Bidding in their decks, obviously because there's not that many of them. But it's interesting to see that from what I learned with Decentraland, right? With Decentraland, scarcity played a big role. For example, if you're buying land in the far outskirts, just single parcel lands, they were the cheapest lands, right? But those that were connected to roads, for example, this one connected to a road, there's obviously many more connected to roads. These lines, the gray lines, are road networks. So any land connected specifically to a road network, there's a lot less of them than the ones in the far outskirts. So they actually started to be valued at pretty much double the price. They're selling for about 17,000 mana at the moment, as opposed to 10,000 mana for the Far Outskirts. And this little pocket over here in the midst of Fashion Street, Virtual Reality Shopping District, and District X started to really grow in value. In fact, many of these are actually selling for 30 to 50,000 mana. People are actually buying these for 30 to 50,000 mana. I had quite a lot of these before. You can see this one I sold back in the day for 49,000 mana, which was ridiculous. But here, because there's not that many of them, again, scarcity plays a role. These started to really increase in value, and of course, lands connected to Genesis Plazas, etc., etc. So, with the same mentality in mind, I am watching the scarcity and keeping an eye on the cards that are rare. And in 5 years time, it's going to be very rare. Like if this game blows up and they go mobile and they're doing the marketing that they are, and I'm really confident in the GU team. I've seen them do their marketing really well and take opportunity to really blow the game publicity out there based on what's happening. Obviously, the Hearthstone one is an example of that. But if it does grow to even hundreds of thousands of users, and it's going to be so rare to have a card like this. And if these ever go the way of a Black Lotus or something like that, then gold legendaries or something like as rare as this, where there's only 60 of them. Gold legendaries, there's only about 3 to 5 or maybe 8, max 10 of them per legendary card, and there's about 60 legendary cards, which means if you take an average of 5, there's about 300 gold legendaries out there, and you've seen them go for 5 Ethereum. So if you kind of do a rough math, you notice it all checks out mathematically. For example, there's 600 of these and there's 60 of these, right? Approximately rounded up or down, and the value of them is the ratio of the scarcity is about 1 to 10, right? There's about 10 times more of lights bidding cards than, the other way around. There's 10 times more Blessed Chimeras than there is lights bidding, and the value checks out. It's pretty much exactly the same. These have been selling for 10 to 12 Ethereum. These have been selling for about 0.8 to 1 Ethereum. So it's about 1 to 10 in terms of value. For example, selling for 10, selling for 1 Ethereum. Again, there's a 1 to 10 ratio there. 660, there's a 1 to 10 ratio there. And if you look at the diamond legendaries, which are 300 in circulation or thereabouts, which is half of this, they're selling for about 5 Ethereum diamond legendaries. And yeah, you might get the odd one selling for 7 or 6, but 5 Ethereum seems to be the area right there, which is, lo and behold, okay, probably not, even though the value of that is half of this. I guess the value is more. Okay. That doesn't check out, but in this case it does. So, well, there is some sort of correlation there, and I am keeping dibs on that, probably because it's, these are promo cards, this one and this, but I guess because it's a legendary part of the Genesis pack, there's more value there. Anyway, I am watching this like a hawk, learning more things every day. Any cards that are getting more regularly used, I am picking up in here. Any ones that are dropping off big time, they'll probably end up being the cheapest. And this is just a really good way of watching what's going up and down and what's becoming more and more popular. Because I feel like, obviously, you got that pyramid card. What's it called? Pyramid Warrior? Skeleton. No, what's his name? Pyramid Warden. That's it. Pyramid Warden is really damn popular. And it is pretty expensive for a rare card compared to the other rare cards. So the more certain cards will get used, obviously the more expensive they'll get, and there might be a time when these are really expensive. So there's opportunity there. But anyway, I am looking for larger collections. Ideally, I want to buy the whole set, but it's just annoying right now. Blockchain is really limiting the transfer of whole sets because it's just not possible to bundle that. I think it messes up with the transactions somehow. Not really that much of a tech person, but yeah. Anyway, Gods Unchained has really got our attention, and it's great to see this sort of volume. I only get involved in projects that have volume because you can buy and sell crypto collectibles is an interesting space, because although the hype would be there in many of these cases for the start, if it does die down, then you literally just got these digital things that are worth nothing. Even if you want to sell it, there's no one there on the other side to buy it. It's not like an exchange where you can list it at the cheapest price and it'll sell. It's just hard to cash out, because in many cases, if you're, if you've invested in a crypto collectible that doesn't have any volume, it's just hard to cash out. Ethereum one was an example of that. After a while, they kind of stagnated it, and now it's kind of pretty much dead until some other developer takes over. But those that have high volumes, for example, Decentraland is one, and God's Unchained, of course, is another one. Cheese Wizards, I think it just got released because it's I think they're the creators of CryptoKitties, so there are some there. But items that have large volume of high asset worth, for example, 5 Ethereum, 10 Ethereum. In Decentraland's example, there were literally people selling lands for $10,000, $50,000, and people actually buying them. That was a crazy thing. In fact, just now I sold this land, this 4-piece estate. It's pretty close to Genesis Center. I sold it for 400,000 mana, literally an hour ago, which is pretty nuts. 10,000 USD. I think I bought it for 160,000 mana, so I made a profit mana-wise, but I think I lost some money in terms of fiat, because back then mana was worth a lot more. But I am used to this sort of transactional value. I'm being, that kind of a value being transacted. So I'm looking for something similar with Gods Unchained to make it worthwhile. Again, I'm a full-time crypto collectible trader, so you got to be able to make a couple $100 a day in these marketplaces to be able to sustain that sort of living. That's it, guys. Hope you learn a few things and teach me a few things, and we learn from each other once the marketplace matures a bit.